Good morning, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you with a book talk, book chat on a book that I finished up last week, and it was called Brotherhood by A.B. Westrick. And this was a really good book. It was about 359 pages. If you include the author note at the end. It is a 2013 book from the Viking Press, and this book, I found it at Dollar Tree for $1. I was going through the books looking for nonfiction and found this one. The artwork on the cover caught my eye. I thought that was kind of cool looking, and so it drew me, and I thought for $1 I can, give it a try. And so I did. I bought this and ended up being a pretty good buy, pretty good story. And this story really it sits well with me with what I've been reading lately. So if you follow the channel, you know that I was doing a buddy read with Peg over at the History Shelf, and we read a short history of Reconstruction. At school here, my SSR read is The Terrible Swift Sword, Volume 2 of Bruce Canton's trilogy. We just got done reading with the kids Frederick Douglass's autobiography about his accounts of what it was like to be in slavery. We just recently started going into my Civil War unit, and we've got all kinds of readers that I use for that unit. And then, just around my room, just a few books, one on Lincoln, we got Civil War battles, we got Centennial, and we got Eyewitness to the Civil War. We got all kinds of things around the room right now that deal with Civil War. And so this book really hit home with me with everything I'm reading right now, because I'm kind of just engulfed in Civil War stuff. And of course, this is post-Civil War. This book is going to take place, this book Brotherhood is going to take place in 1867. So we're talking the beginnings of Reconstruction. And it's going to center around, the setting is in Richmond, Virginia. And inside the city, we see former slaves who have been freed, obviously, and they are roaming the streets freely. So we got a African-American population that is trying to learn how to live within the white community, and the white community is trying to learn how to live with the free African-Americans. And we still have the Union Army stationed in Richmond, and we have a lot of bitterness in Richmond. The white community is extremely bitter about how the war ended. The main characters of this book are Jeremiah and Shadrach. They're a couple of brothers who, their family, they are tailors, so they make dresses, they fix seams, they do all that kind of stuff for the community. And we have some other main characters. The family business is owned by their grandpa, and their father just died during the Civil War. And so they're very, very bitter about that, and they're going through that emotional stage like most people in the Civil War were going through, and they're trying to figure out a place to aim their bitterness at. Where can they aim that at? And one of the groups that popped up in the South to help with that bitterness for these ex-Confederates was the KKK, the Brotherhood here. And so the title of this book, to me, is going to speak on different levels. Brotherhood being the KKK, Brotherhood being these two brothers. And then eventually, as we get into the book, it'll be the brotherhood just of mankind, and how do we treat one another. And so the story, like I said, 1867 in Richmond, and the story starts out with an arrest. And the older brother, Jeremiah, has been arrested for a murder. And through the beginning chapters, it becomes a flashback to what happened. And these two brothers, like I said, they are tailors. Now, Shadrach does more work than Jeremiah does with the family business. Jeremiah is really starting to get involved in the KKK. And in the book, we are going to see the initiation of the younger brother, who I can't remember exactly how old. He was like 11, 12, something like that, years old. And so he's pretty young getting initiated into the KKK, but he starts getting involved also on more of a minor level. but he feels good about it because it's a brotherhood, and it's the first time that him and his brother have really started to grow close together. And I use close kind of, use that with a grain of salt, but it's the first time he's feeling accepted and he's a part of the group, and everybody has something that ties them together. And of course, the group initially was put together to protect the widows of the ex-Confederate, or these Confederate soldiers that died during the war, and initially it becomes a terrorist group. Jeremiah is fully involved in this, and Shadrach is going to learn very quickly what this is all about in the minor terrorist things that they do to the African American community. Now, as we get into the story, Shadrach is going to go to one of the local neighbors who is a well-to-do white woman who needs some work done on some dresses and some dresses made. And as he goes to her house to get the order, he meets a couple of African-American girls. Rachel is the main character. And he learns that they are... When you talk about the relationships of whites and African Americans in that time period, the white community was still expecting the African American community to be subservient, to bow down to the white whims, and the brother doesn't know how to take this. She is outspoken, articulated. We find out later as the story goes on, she teaches in one of the African American schools that had been set up by the government group that put that together, and he doesn't know what to make of it because she finds out very quickly that he can't read, or he doesn't read very well. And as the story evolves, we find out that Shadrach is dyslexic, and that is why he struggles so much to read. His family have kind of wrote him off as dumb, and you can't read, don't even try, all of this. But he has this yearning to learn. And as he meets Rachel and the main mistress of the house, they offer to do a trade with him. If you will teach our African American students how to sew and how to become tailors, we will teach you to read. And so as the story progresses, he gets involved in this African American school as a student, which, if his fellow KKK brothers would have found out, that would not have been good. And so we get this volatile relationship that happens throughout the book, and he is being tugged in two different directions. Does he follow the Brotherhood, or does he begin to have a heart for the African American community that is actually helping him out? And this desire to learn. We just got done going over in my class, how I was mentioning Frederick Douglass and how learning to read opened up this new world to him, and it's a world of knowledge, and it's a way to gain and get ahead in the world. And Shadrach learns that very quickly, and he starts becoming very proud of himself, despite his brother putting him down as, you're dumb. Why are you doing this? Why are you, XYZ? And so we get this pull, this tug going both ways for Shadrach. Now, as the story progresses, the terrorism of the KKK evolves, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And eventually we get to the point that, we come full circle to the point in the beginning of the story where the murder happens. And so then we see that the KKK is getting away with murders. They're able to get their people out of jail. They're able to, do all of this other stuff. And I don't want to spoil the book for you in case you pick this up, and I would recommend you to pick this up. But there comes a case where the KKK finds out about the African American school, and they want to burn it to the ground. And so they're trying to pump Shadrach for information. Find out what you can, because they don't know if it's in the backyard, in the shed in the backyard of this white mistress or not. And they want Shadrach to find out because they know he's going there to help with clothing. And they believe that he's learning to read from her, not from the African American school. And so he's having to keep secrets and lies, and he's having troubles keeping everything straight, and he's being tugged in two different directions on should he tell about the school or should he not tell about the school. Should he give up these friends that he's made, because these young African American kids have started looking up to him, and it's a really good feeling because he becomes a teacher. He gets put into a respectful relationship with them, and he starts to grow fond of these kids, and so he doesn't know what to do. And so that's how we get into towards the latter third of the book, which is, I don't want to tell you the rest of the story because I don't want to ruin it, but this is an excellent account of what life was like for the young people of Richmond who are being pulled in these different directions, and should I do what's wrong or what should I do do what's right. And so I would highly recommend this book. I'd give it probably a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the book. I would recommend everybody to go read it. And so I hope this sparked an interest for you. Go out and find this book, A.B. Westrick's Brotherhood. So thank you, BookTube, for watching, and I hope everyone's having a great day, a great week. I know the weather's been beautiful, and so I hope everybody's finding time to read and even get outside a little bit. So thank you for watching. Until next time, happy reading.